There is something they rarely tell us about manifestation. Something that, even if you do everything right, visualizations, affirmations, meditations, still works like an invisible brake. And it's this. The more you try to attract what you desire, the more it seems to move away. The truth is uncomfortable, but liberating. The mistake is not in what you want, but in how you want it. This silent error, repeated over and over without realizing it, keeps abundance, love, health, or any goal always one step away, like something that never fully arrives. For years, I watched many people repeat affirmations like magic mantras, hoping that this simple act would be enough to create reality. I saw them striving, desiring intensely, full of enthusiasm, and yet, the results didn't come. Why? Because intention alone is not enough. The universe, the quantum field, energy, they do not respond to scattered words or loose thoughts. They respond to your vibration. Every time we say, "I will achieve it," without noticing, we are telling life, "I don't have it yet." And the field responds with millimetric precision to that absence. It doesn't matter how much you desire something, if the signal you emit is of lack, you will keep receiving lack. I fell into this trap myself many times. At the beginning of my path, I thought it was enough to imagine the future, to project myself, to visualize what I wanted. But I didn't understand that, while putting my energy into tomorrow, I disconnected from the only real moment, the now. The body, the brain, the energy you are, only act in this instant. Everything you vibrate in the future remains, in the future. Far. Unreachable. When I finally understood that the universe does not respond to hope, but to certainty, everything changed. The magic began not when I wanted something, but when I decided to be that. Remember, everything begins in the mind, but the word that aligns feeling organizes the mind. It is useless to repeat, "One day I'll be abundant," if my body vibrates with fear or scarcity. It's like chasing your shadow. It's always one step ahead. It always feels like something is missing. You can also hear in that phrase, "One day I'll be abundant," the deviation. Listening is another key. Manifestation requires a radical leap. To feel now what your mind says is not yet real. To embody prosperity, health, wholeness, even if circumstances still tell another story. This is the art. To break the addiction of projecting desires, to stop feeding the ego that keeps throwing everything into the future. Because the ego survives on lack. On the idea that something is always missing. But the quantum field does not understand that language. It only understands I am, I have. And this small change in words represents a huge vibrational shift. From that moment, everything started to move differently. Every time I affirmed with inner conviction, "I am abundant," my body responded. It was as if I were already living what I once only wished for. And the more I aligned with this certainty in the present, the more I felt it, the more reality conspired to make it visible in the physical world. This discovery took me even further. I understood that time is not linear. The universe does not operate according to our calendar or expectations. It only responds to the real vibration of this instant. Saying, "I will do it someday," is like asking a lamp to light up tomorrow. It doesn't work. Creation happens when the frequency of your being aligns with the certainty that it is already real. For years, I lived that cruel distance between what I wanted and what I experienced. Until I realized. Every time I said, "I'm going to heal," I was reinforcing the idea that I was still sick. I was worshipping the desire but kneeling before it, as if it were something distant, unattainable. The key turned when I affirmed, "I am healthy," even if my body still showed symptoms. That, now, is the only real door to transformation. When the body feels the future as if it were the present, it begins to create the chemicals of that experience before it happens. The mind may doubt, but the body, once convinced, becomes the stage where the miracle happens. I stopped waiting to feel good. I decided to feel good now. Without reason. Without external cause. And it was one of the most revolutionary decisions I ever made. I acted as someone who had already achieved everything. Not out of self-deception, but by a vibrational decision. If I wanted abundance, I behaved with generosity. If I desired love, I cultivated presence, compassion. No longer like a spiritual beggar begging for results. But like a conscious creator who knows that life responds to coherence, not to intention. And coherence can only exist in the now. That's how I understood that reality does not bend to waiting, but to the exact frequency you emit today. Everything began to accelerate when I let go of psychological time and entered the time of creation, the circular time. And there I discovered an even deeper layer, the subconscious. That silent programmer that can sustain, or sabotage, any attempt at change. Because it's not enough to consciously want something if, deep down, in the invisible root of the mind, beliefs of scarcity, fear, or unworthiness are engraved. The subconscious drives almost 95% of our actions and reactions. It does not distinguish between real and imagined. It believes what is repeated with emotional force. That's why I started to reprogram it through repetitions full of emotion. It was no longer enough to say, I am healthy, I am prosperous. I had to feel how my body vibrated with that certainty. As if health and abundance overflowed me. This silent conviction began to draw a new energetic signature. And over time, the old patterns began to fade. Inherited patterns. Childhood words. Experiences branded into the unconscious. Everything started to change when I rewrote my own inner narrative. I did it in meditations, in walks, before sleeping. Every moment became an opportunity to install new programming. And the more coherent I became between what I thought, felt, and did, the easier it was for my subconscious to accept this new code as truth. Resistance dissolved. Doubt lost strength. The body began to operate with new software. It wasn't magic. It was applied neuroscience. The changes came. Subtle at first. Then powerful. Opportunities that appeared without seeking them. Relationships that transformed. Symptoms that disappeared. And then I understood the great revelation. If I am capable of creating a new vibrational identity with the correct repetition, then I am capable of manifesting any reality. The question is not what I want to achieve, but who do I become right now? Because the universe does not give what you ask for. It gives what you are.